So we do try to stay impartial here in journalism land, but let's throw that out the window for this last question. So, who is your ride or die team for 2024? And I guess you can take that however you want to take that, like the team that you think has the best chance to maybe win state from our area, or the team you just want to see do well for whatever reason. Who's your pick?
Well, last year, I kind of got on the Itasca Wampus Cat bandwagon,
You did.
and I still like them. I still love to see a program improving, and I don't know why. I don't know why I like. I'm not choosing based on the mascots and the mascot originality, but the two teams I fell in love with when I was doing my preview stuff this year was the Covington Owls and the Frost Polar Bears. Now, Covington is six-man. Only two teams from each district make the playoffs.
Hmm.
They're in a four-team district, and Covington was 4-6 last year and missed the playoffs. They hadn't made the playoffs since 1997, since
Correct.
I was a sophomore in college. It was a long time ago. But they've got five starters back on both sides of the ball, and a team that went 4-6 last year, and they're thinking maybe this is the year, right?
Hmm.
The Frost Polar Bears, they don't have quite the gap, and I mean they made the playoffs in 2019, but they've got 9 offensive, 11 defensive starters back. And everybody, I mean, when you look at the district that they play in, it seems pretty obvious. Mart, Bremond, and Chilton are the playoff big dogs, and then you got about three teams playing for that remaining fourth playoff spot.
Yeah, because
They're in a
Wortham's pretty good. Frost is
mm-hmm.
pretty good. Yeah.
Goldthwait, and this was my favorite stat. We didn't talk about it. We should have talked about it over the weekend, but we didn't talk. My favorite stat in that district is the top three teams in the district. Mart, Bremond, and Chilton have a combined 17 state championships. No. You got to throw Goldthwait in. Mart, Bremond, Chilton, and Goldthwait have a combined 17 state championships. That's an amazing number when you think. I would like to know if there are any other districts in the state that have that kind of number.
And a lot of them are this century,
Right. Yeah. And then the other four have zero
Yeah.
combined. So
I'm with you on Frost. I like Philip Gibson as a head coach. I think he's doing a good job, former Conley assistant. They've got a kid there in Mario, who just kind of is your do-it-all guy that you see a lot in 2A. And I think it'd be fun to get out and see Frost in a game this year. And certainly, you got to love the fact that they're playing the Ice Bowl tomorrow night out in Hamilton. The Frost Polar Bears and the Winters
Winners, Blizzards.
Blizzards.
Yeah.
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 Afterwards, they all go to Dairy Queen and get them a nice blizzard. How about you, DJ?
Oh man. I mean, obviously it's great when all our teams do well because then we've got a lot to cover. I'm really hyped about the University Trojans.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, going out to talk to all those guys last week, I mean, I roll up and Coach Johnson is just like getting ready to go out to Pflugerville. I got to sit in his chair to do the interviews, so it's fun. I can feel the power. And then just those guys, I feel like they've grown up a lot. Like I remember talking to London Smith when he was a freshman, when we picked him for the Offensive Newcomer of the Year. And that interview just being a little stilted and, him being a freshman and
Mm-hmm.
still kind of learning how to communicate. And also like me learning, a little bit of how to do interviews with, high school kids. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and talking to him last week, it was probably the best interview we've had so far. No, he's definitely matured and he's grown up as a leader. And you've got all these other guys. I talked to Michael Willis and Joaquin Martinez and JD Bell and it's just exciting, and I'm really hyped up to see them play Belton again because I feel like that's going to be probably the district championship game. Although Brenham's got, something to say, trying to throw their hat in the ring. I do think
Belton's
Wichita's going to be
replacing a
better.
lot more too, aren't they? Belton's replacing a lot more players than
Yes,
University.
they are replacing. They have a young team, but they still got some veterans here or there. But yeah, I just think compared to University. I mean, the Trojans just have so much talent, so much experience, and then so much like young talent. Like you have Savoy Nichols, who's a sophomore, who came in last year as a freshman, and played really well for a freshman, in district play. So, Cade Bynum moving to wide receiver. So I don't know, it's just like we were doing interviews, they were playing Party in the USA in the locker room, and I was like, this sounds like such a fun team. And yeah, and I'm excited. They're gonna play China Spring in week 3, so that's gonna be a great game.
They got
Yeah,
it set up. They got it set up for a lightning fast start too, because I was doing my picks a while ago. Keller Central was picked last in their district, and not that great. Then Granbury, my whole family lives there, and maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just keep my mouth shut. But they're never good in football. Sorry, Pirates. I'm sure there's lots. You have a very beautiful lake there in your city and all. Used to have good girls basketball, but so University probably is going to score about 100 points the first 2 weeks, and then they're going to play China Spring, and we'll get like their first real test, right?
Yeah. So my ride or die team for 2024, I'm going back to the 6-man ranks, and I'm going with the Oglesby Tigers. Because here, first of all, I just like Jim Dixon. I think he's done an incredible job since he got there. He came in 2020. Of course, we know what happened in 2020 and all the hurdles that coaches had to navigate. And right off the bat, he made history. He led them to their first playoff win since 1983. All they've done there since he's been there is win. 10 wins, 9 wins, 12 wins. Last year, they win their first 13 games. They go to state for the first time in history, and they run into a very, very tough Benjamin team was the previous state champion and, handled Oglesby pretty well. It was 82-34. Uh, this year, Oglesby has 4 out of 6 starters back on both sides of the ball. They've got the reigning Super Centex 6-man player of the year and Kyler Fawcett, who ran for 56 touchdowns. By the way, I don't know how often we have 2 6-man player of the years coming back, and Riley Sestala of Abbott won it a couple years ago. He's still
Shustala.
Shustala, sorry. Yeah, I always forget
so many
that.
times.
Yeah, I forget that Abbott pronunciation. Yeah, we've got him back. We've got Kyler Fawcett back. And truthfully, London Bickham at MCH, Methodist Home, probably could be a 6-man player of the year. He's that good. So our 6-man ranks are loaded, but it'll be fun to see how Oglesby navigates being the number 1 team in the state and the pressure that kind of comes with that. But I think they're very, very hungry to get back and to win it.
Man, it was kind of crazy to watch that Benjamin Oglesby 6-man championship game last year because Kyler Fawcett was number 1. Benjamin's quarterback was number 1. It was just like one that way, one that way, one that way. It was almost like watching a basketball game where they were getting the ball to one guy and letting him score on both ends. Like the old Larry Bird, Michael Jordan showdown or something.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
There was a great old you may remember this one, Chad. Larry Bird and Dominique Wilkins.
In
the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
They both went off.
Mm-hmm.
And Bird was hitting just crazy shots, and the Hawks were on the bench just like falling over. And a couple of those guys got in trouble because they were like reacting to Bird shots. Anyway, yeah, it should be fun to watch Oglesby. That's my ride or die team.